More on what this means for Microsoft. Let's bring in CNBC contributor Malcolm Ethridge of CIC Wealth. Microsoft, one of his top holdings. What's your initial reaction here? Were you surprised?
I am a little bit surprised. I actually thought that this merger acquisition, I should say, was pretty much dead in the water. And so I'm actually surprised to see that Microsoft has managed to breathe a little bit more life into it. But I don't know that it's going to be all that additive as a shareholder of Microsoft in the near term anyway. I think everything GPT related, everything generative AI related, and everything open AI related is going to be what really drives the story for Microsoft through the end of this year and pushing into next year. And so I think losing out on the Activision acquisition could have been one of those things that Microsoft looked at a decade later and said, man, there was our opportunity. But I don't think near-term shareholders are going to really feel much of a difference regardless of what direction this actually goes.
I mean, this still might be dead in the water. I mean, in fact, I think expectations were somewhat low that this would get through the Biden administration's FTC.
Well, the Biden administration's FTC is obviously trying to make sure that they prove that they do have teeth. There were probably a few of these deals that shouldn't have gone through earlier in Khan's tenure that did go. And so this is kind of the one that we're sticking with, even though it has looser restrictions, looser realistic issues with monopoly. So whether it goes or not, I don't know. I think this is a place where she wants to plant a flag and say, I did that. But as far as being a Microsoft shareholder, I don't know that it matters to you one way or another as far as the share price is concerned.
So what do you do now in terms of the share price that you speak about here? I mean, it's up 36% year to date. It's 53% off of its 52-week low. How do you view it here? Has it come a little too far? Are you reassessing the size of the position you have as a shareholder? Like I know, by the way, you've been doing with other stocks in your book.
So I did reassess and I did trim my position in Microsoft a couple weeks back. And my concern was exactly what you just laid out. It got way too hot and I think way too far over its skis for where we are in the market right now. I think there's definitely going to be an opportunity to come and buy back in somewhere in the 200s, 250-ish range. I think we might even get a significant pullback to that degree in those larger cap tech names. And so I didn't completely blow out of it completely because, who knows where the market could actually run to. But I think for folks who are holding a name like a Microsoft and Apple or Google, things like that, that are holding 50+% returns year to date, there's nothing wrong with taking a profit here. I think it's definitely an opportunity to get out of the way, let the market do what it's going to do, and at least trim that position by maybe 20-25%.
You must be negative then overall in the market if you think big tech is going to have some kind of pullback, unless I'm wrong and you think something's going to pick up the slack.
No, I actually do think the market's going to continue to power forward. I think the conversation that you guys had earlier on the network about CalPERS deciding to jump in and say, hey, look, we missed that tech trade and we want to make sure we don't do it again. As you know, a lot of other institutional managers tend to follow what CalPERS does. And so I was looking at data from Jefferies that shows that 9.1% of large cap growth managers right now are underweight tech. I think they get their second quarter print that shows that they're underperforming the market once again. All of a sudden, you have a lot of institutional managers that are having to buy back into tech positions that they sold out of this time last year, expecting that the tech trade was dead, and they were wanting to rotate into whatever they thought was going to come. So I think that we're definitely going to get a second wave of buying in these 7 or 8 tech names that are leading the way. But I also think that with the headwinds coming from the Fed, inflation, the regional banks and everything else, it's unlikely that the market's going to continue going up and to the right. And so I just want to make sure that I get out of the way for whenever the inevitable happens. And I do think, again, just from a positioning standpoint, I'm going to get an opportunity to buy back some of my favorite names for a little bit cheaper in a few weeks here.